The harsh reality that few are willing to speak aloud is that betrayal rarely comes from strangers. It almost always arrives from those closest to you. The ones who smile with you, dine with you, laugh with you. Those are often the first to turn their backs when your world begins to crumble. Many people around you aren't truly allies. They're burdens masked as companions. Right now, you may feel surrounded by camaraderie, but in truth, you could be encircled by dormant threats, people who will flee or turn on you the second adversity shows its face. These individuals aren't assets in your life. They're dangers lying in wait. When the pressure mounts, when the money dries up, when legal trouble knocks or life drags you to the brink, they won't be the ones offering a hand. No, they'll walk right over your broken form without a second thought, leaving you to face the fire alone. So you must ask yourself, who truly has your back? If you don't have a clear answer, you're already playing a dangerous game. The world is filled with fragile men disguised as strong ones. Right now, you may be surrounded by those who act like brothers, slap you on the back, share jokes and good times, but beneath that surface lies weakness. These same individuals who claim loyalty will crumble when hardship arrives. Fragility is not just a flaw, it's a betrayal in disguise. It's contagious, a slow-acting poison that convinces people they're good simply because they haven't actively done harm. But true weakness starts with self-deception. A feeble man lies first to himself about his strength, his discipline, his loyalty, and then lies to everyone else. Imagine the scenario. The storm rolls in, the threats become real, and the illusion of safety fades. You'd think your so-called friends would rally to your side, shield you, fight with you. But no, men like that fracture under stress. They panic, they run, and they abandon because their only real loyalty is to their own comfort. And you've welcomed them into your space. You've shared laughter, spent nights out drinking, killed time with them, thinking you're building bonds, but you're not building a team, you're building a minefield. Every unworthy companion you keep is another explosion waiting to happen. And deep down, you already know this. You've seen it, you've lived it. People you trusted have vanished when the stakes rose. So the question becomes, why are they still in your life? The answer is uncomfortable but necessary to hear, because you've been unwilling to face your own softness. You let weak men stay in your life because their mediocrity makes you feel safe. It makes your own shortcomings easier to accept when you're not the only one falling short. But there's a voice inside of you. It's there every day telling you the truth. It's yelling that you don't belong among the feeble, the comfortable, the cowards. A powerful man doesn't keep weak men close. If you're genuinely committed to building a future of power, influence, and triumph, you must begin the purge. No more leniency, no forgiveness for failure, no compassion for those who choose weakness. Weakness is a decision. It's not cruel to cast it out, it's survival. You might think this message is brutal, unfair even. That's fine. The world doesn't bend to emotion. It rewards grit. It rewards the resilient. Look closely at your circle. Are those around you battle-ready? Could they defend you? Could they take a hit, stand tall, and keep fighting when the storm hits? Or would they betray you for a sliver of relief, a few dollars, or fleeting pleasure? You already know the answer. And here's a truth rarely spoken. A man who doesn't command his body cannot command his mind. If he cannot rise each day and endure pain by choice, how can he be trusted to endure suffering on your behalf when life demands it? The men you surround yourself with, can they suffer willingly, consistently, with honor, or do they quit the moment discomfort arrives? Their humor, your history together, even your blood ties, none of that matters if they don't have the strength to stand with you when everything falls apart. Loyalty isn't born in celebration. Loyalty is carved in hardship. It's proven in crisis. The bonds that matter are formed in fire, through endurance, through hardship, through shared sacrifice. If your circle isn't pushing you to rise, isn't holding you accountable to your higher self, they're not friends, they're anchors, and anchors drag you down. Life is a battlefield, not a playground. And only those who prepare for combat daily are fit to walk beside you. Only those who accept pain willingly, who live with discipline, who would rather perish than violate their own principles, are worthy of your trust. So ask yourself the most vital question of all. Would your companions bleed for you? Would they suffer beside you when there's nothing left but the will to survive? If the answer isn't a loud, unmistakable yes, then you already know what you have to do. This world is merciless to those who rely on others for strength. It will expose you, break you, and discard you if you're unprepared. The only defense you have is your own fortitude and the inner steel of those you permit into your life. Choose your circle wisely or walk into the fire alone. Every man reaches a point where the truth becomes impossible to ignore. Maybe you haven't hit that moment yet. Maybe you still believe your friends would take the fall for you, would protect you through hell and back. Let me tell you something. There was once a man, sharp, ambitious, always looking out for his crew. He built his success from scratch, brought his friends along for the ride. He gave them food, shelter, opportunities. Together, he laughed, celebrated, conquered. Life was golden until it wasn't. One mistake, one moment of pressure, And the dream began to crack. The money vanished. The heat turned up. And guess what happened? The people he trusted the most disappeared. One after another, they left, some with apologies, some with excuses, some with knives behind their backs. The man who had once carried them all now stood alone. That's the lesson. Your true allies aren't the ones cheering you on when you're winning. They're the ones who stand unshaken when everything collapses. So ask yourself, have you ever truly been tested? Have you stood at the edge, unable to breathe, nearly broken? And in that moment, who remained by your side? That's your answer, that's your truth, and it's time you started living by it. If you've never endured hardship, never felt the sting of pressure tightening its grip around your life, then you haven't truly discovered who stands with you and who doesn't. Struggle is the furnace that separates the loyal from the fake. Fragile men crumble under strain. They don't endure pain, they don't persevere, they don't adapt. They break, they vanish. And the worst part, they justify it with false virtue. They'll look you in the eye and say they had no choice, that they did what they had to do. They'll pretend they owed you nothing, and in that moment, reality reveals itself. Most people in your circle are not comrades. They're passengers. They're present for the good times, the benefits, the laughter. But once the music stops, once the ease disappears, they'll slip away without hesitation, without remorse. So, how do you separate the real from the fake? How do you determine who's battle ready and who's just playing the part? You create adversity, you introduce discomfort, you crank up the difficulty and take away the luxuries. Because real bonds are not formed in times of pleasure. They are forged in the furnace of adversity. If you want to build a genuine brotherhood, stop wasting your energy on those who can't take the heat. Stop investing your trust in individuals who only seek pleasure, distraction, and ease. Start observing, start testing. See who remains when the lights go out and the laughter fades. Watch who reaches out when you fall. Watch who stands beside you when there's no benefit in doing so. Because those men, the ones who stay in the darkness, are priceless. Look around you, right now. Ask yourself the uncomfortable question. Would these people you call friends put their life on the line for you? Would they stand between you and danger? If the answer isn't instantly, undeniably yes, then what are you doing? What kind of man surrounds himself with people who aren't worth trusting in the moments that matter most? Let's not sugarcoat it. Life is a battlefield, and you can't go to war with jesters. You can't trust your flank to men who are only there when things are simple. You need soldiers. You need warriors. Fear, hesitation, weakness, these things will slither into your world through the people you allow into your inner circle. If you don't weed them out, if you don't make the hard choices, then their frailty will bleed into you. And when the time comes, when life hurls you into chaos and you're clawing to stay afloat, you'll realize you're standing alone. That moment, when everything crashes, will be the moment regret strikes like a gunshot to the heart. You'll remember every warning you brushed aside, every red flag you ignored, every time your gut told you someone didn't belong, but you stayed silent because it was more convenient. When you're on the brink of collapse, when life has its hands around your throat, you'll finally see clearly. Weak men don't just run. They pull others down with them. Maybe you're thinking, but I've known these guys for years. Doesn't matter. Maybe you believe they'd never turn on me. That's naive. Like maybe you feel like they need me. That's weakness talking. If the people around you haven't proven themselves through struggle, if they haven't earned their place beside you, then you're already at risk. You're a commander leading a battalion of quitters, and you don't even see it yet. Let me say something you need to hear. The fragile will always betray the powerful. Not because they're evil, but because they're scared. Scared of hardship, scared of sacrifice, scared of standing alone. And fear makes a man dangerous. A man driven by fear will throw you to the wolves if it means sparing himself. That's the reality. So what's the answer? You lead, you seize control, you eliminate fragility like a skilled surgeon removes cancer. You surround yourself with warriors, men who spit in fear's face, men who don't flee from pain but grind it underfoot. Because in this life, there are only two types of men: leaders and traitors. The clock is ticking, and every moment spent with the wrong people is time you will never get back. Let that truth sink in. Weakness is not a passive flaw, it's a contagious sickness. And if you don't extract it from your environment, it will spread into you. How many times have you dismissed your instincts? How often have you looked at someone, felt something was off, but told yourself they were harmless? And then one day, it happens. The betrayal, the collapse, the proof you were wrong all along. All it takes is one disloyal man to bring down everything you've built. Weakness is not silent, it's not inert. It's a loaded weapon in the hands of someone who will fire when pressure comes. And betrayal never walks in with a red flag. It comes smiling, wearing familiar faces. It comes from the man you vouched for, the one you confided in, the one you helped, supported, and protected. And when the fire got hot, he didn't stand with you, he chose the exit. He abandoned you to the flames so he could save his own skin. And the most brutal part, you let him close enough to do it. That's your failure. Not because you couldn't see the danger, but because you didn't act. You saw the signs. You felt the disconnect. You knew deep down he didn't have the spine to stand tall when things turned sour. But you let it slide. You told yourself you were overthinking it. You weren't. Every second you allow weakness to remain in your inner circle is a step closer to disaster. And if you don't make changes now, if you don't begin to sever ties with those who can't weather storms, then you'll learn this lesson the way so many others have. Too late. Regret doesn't scream. It whispers. It eats you slowly. Picture yourself years from now, broke, betrayed, alone, looking back on every opportunity you had to choose differently, but didn't. Imagine the fury rising in your chest as you remember the moments you could have walked a different path, but didn't act. Don't let that become your story. Clean your circle, or be ready to fall with it. Picture the shame, not just toward those who turned their backs on you, but the kind that festers in your own chest, knowing you allowed it. Not once, not twice, but repeatedly. Every instance you tolerated cowardice in your circle, every opportunity you let pass when you should have removed those who weakened your foundation. Those choices are on you. It doesn't matter how far back your history goes with them. It's irrelevant whether you grew up together, share bloodlines, or weathered easy seasons side by side. None of that matters when war is knocking on your door. If they lack the strength to face adversity, they have no business in your unit. They're not part of your mission. They're a threat to it. If you're serious about thriving, about rising so high that you're untouchable, you need to start operating like it. No more naive optimism. No more offering second chances to people who've already shown you their limits. Stop assuming they'll grow when tested. Stop telling yourself that loyalty and weakness can coexist. They cannot. Loyalty isn't just a word. It's a product of character. And character cannot exist in someone who folds under weight. Men who can't endure the fire don't stand with you. They serve themselves. And once you truly absorb that, your perspective changes. You stop waiting. You stop hoping. You start taking full command of your life, your space, your direction. So what now? Will you delay until you're left with nothing? Will you sit in denial, hoping the unfit suddenly evolve? Will you keep making excuses, convincing yourself that it's compassion when in truth it's fear? Or will you rise up, sharpen your vision, and sever the weak links before they destroy what you've built? This is the moment that defines everything. This is your battle's beginning. The time for reasoning is over. No more waiting. No more tolerance for softness that corrodes the core of great men. Weakness isn't harmless, it's toxic. It spreads, it decays everything it touches. The reality you must accept is this. Life isn't a playground. It's not some feel-good fairy tale where everyone wins and everyone loves each other. This world is a battleground. And the men around you are either weapons at your side, or they are the knives pointed at your back. There is no third option. Forget everything you were told about friendship being about laughs and memories. That's not what real brotherhood looks like. True friendship is tested in the crucible of survival. It's knowing, beyond question, that the man beside you will take the blow meant for you without hesitation. And let's be honest, how many of those around you right now would actually do that? Most? No. Most would trade your life for their comfort. That's the cold truth. They'd watch you bleed if it meant they could walk away unscathed. And if you don't grasp that now, if you don't start purging the weak from your proximity, then you're already compromised. Because when chaos erupts, when pain kicks in, when life hits you with everything it's got, those who lack the spine to endure will leave you gasping for air, alone in disbelief. But you shouldn't be surprised. You'll remember the warnings, their lack of resilience, their absence of discipline, their inability to endure discomfort. You felt it. You knew they weren't cut from the same cloth, yet you kept them close. Why? Because it was easier than confrontation, because calling it out felt awkward, because you feared being alone more than you feared betrayal, and that cost you everything. Understand this. Fragile men are parasites. They feed off your fire, they dull your blade, they smother your drive, they don't push you to sharpen, they lull you into complacency, and then when the storm arrives, they vanish. Worse, they walk right over your wreckage like you were never there, like your bond never meant anything. That's not drama, that's not exaggeration, that's history. Look at the fallen, kings, commanders, visionaries, all brought down not by enemies, but by those they trusted most. The threat never came from the outside, it grew quietly within, and that is the price of inaction. Letting one unworthy man stay in your ranks is like letting a crack form in your armor. It widens, it spreads, and when the pressure builds, it shatters. You can't afford to carry the unprepared. You can't march into war flanked by those who hesitate when it matters. You need people who are forged in fire, men who rise when others sink, warriors who don't tremble in the face of sacrifice. So choose wisely, act decisively, cut deep when necessary. You're not heartless for demanding strength. You're not cruel for setting high standards. You are building an unbreakable fortress, and there is no room inside for men who flinch at adversity. Your survival, your legacy, and your power depend on it. Delay, and you invite collapse. Choose weakness, and you guarantee defeat. But act now, cut clean, lead strong, and you'll walk through fire surrounded by those who would rather die than let you fall. That's the circle you deserve. Build it, or be buried beneath the one you refuse to change. It wasn't his enemies who brought him down, it was the feeble men he thought he could count on. And unless you wake up and remove every trace of weakness from your world, you're walking straight into that same disaster. Not next week, not when it feels convenient. Now, every tick of the clock spent entertaining people who drain your energy is time you could have used forging your legacy. Every second spent tolerating the timid, the distracted, the unserious, that's a second lost forever. You could be growing stronger. You could be evolving into a relentless, unstoppable force. But instead, you're laughing with jokers, sitting beside people who crumble under pressure and calling it friendship. That's not loyalty. That's sabotage dressed in smiles. What you need isn't people who make life easier. You need individuals who make you sharper, more disciplined, more dangerous. You don't need yes men echoing your every word. You need those who challenge your thinking, demand more from you, and won't let you settle for mediocrity. This journey you're on, it's not about comfort. It's about conquest. It's about choosing strength, discipline, and cold, strategic focus. And if your environment isn't fueling that growth, then it's a trap. Because out here, the law is simple. Those who can't endure fall, and those who harden themselves survive. So ask yourself, honestly, are you living with purpose, surrounding yourself with people who sharpen your edge? Or are you walking blind through a battlefield, surrounded by liabilities waiting for betrayal to blindside you? You can either keep pretending things are fine, or you can seize control and start constructing a circle of steel, a network of men forged through fire, not forged through comfort. There's no second draft of this life. There's no rewind. Once the damage is done, it's done. The world has no sympathy for the weak. You either command your life like a general, or you're swept aside like a casualty. So enough with the waiting, enough with the silence, enough with the pitiful excuses you keep telling yourself every time you hesitate to make the necessary cuts. This right here, is the turning point. Either you rise now, or you remain shackled to mediocrity, a victim of your own indecision, a man surrounded by smiling traitors, just waiting for the right moment to walk away and leave you broken. Because make no mistake, the world owes you nothing. It doesn't slow down for your doubts. It won't pause so you can get your thoughts together. If you're not decisive, you're expendable. Period. So I ask you, who in your life is dead weight? Who's slowing you down? Who talks a big game but never shows up when it matters? Who distracts you with mindless chatter and keeps you soft with excuses? Who's turning you into a version of yourself you wouldn't even respect? You already know the answer. Don't lie to yourself. You've felt it deep in your bones. You've watched them fold under pressure, laugh in the face of discipline, run when hardship showed up, and still you made excuses for them, still you kept them close. But now you're out of time. You've got two options. Cut them out completely. No apologies, no drawn-out conversations, no guilt. Just erase them like a mistake in your blueprint. Or keep them in your life knowing full well that their cowardice will one day drag you into the dirt with them. What will it be? Do you have the spine to make the tough call? Or are you so terrified of being alone that you'll sacrifice your entire future just to avoid temporary silence? This is the wake-up call. This is the moment where you stop pretending and face the raw truth. Your life isn't some fantasy. It's a fight. And if you don't start fighting like it, you will lose. You think loyalty is about time, about shared memories and laughs from the past? It's not. Loyalty is about who's willing to suffer for you, fight beside you, bleed if they must. If they're not ready to face that kind of hardship, why are they even in your world? It's fear that paralyzes you, fear of losing people, fear of isolation, fear of the unknown. But let me tell you something with absolute certainty. If you can't stare that fear in the face and do what must be done, then you're already defeated. Because while you hesitate, while you delay, weakness is growing like rot beneath your feet. Every pause in action is another crack in your armor. There is no later, there is no someday. This is it, this moment, this breath, this decision. It's the line that separates those who lead and those who get left behind. So what's it going to be? Are you going to carve your path with fire and resolve? Or are you going to sit in the shadows pretending everything will fix itself? Stand up, cut the chains, stand alone if you must. But from that solitude, build a force, an inner circle of warriors who won't run, who won't fold, who live with the same fire burning in their eyes. Or ignore everything, keep living soft, and die surrounded by pretenders who will vanish the second the storm hits. This is not a game, this is not theory, this is war. And war doesn't wait for the indecisive. It crushes them